Alright, hey everyone. Today I want to talk about the gamepad aiming issues in Serious Sam. I've already done a video on the first encounter, and while I'm showing the Serious Sam 3, the controls are consistent between all of them, including the Fusion version, which I'm showing right now. So this will just be an updated illustration of these issues, as well as this will be feedback for Serious Sam 4, which will come out at the end of this year, and ideally with console port sometime next year. But getting straight into it, Serious Sam uses a 40% square dead zone, so you have to move the stick that far before you start seeing any cursor movement occur. And of course, since it's square, it's larger in the corners. Most games hover around a 20% dead zone for their default dead zone, so being double that, Serious Sam has a gigantic dead zone. You can see just how much stick movement I can make without anything occurring in game. Square dead zones have the side effect of restricting diagonal movement around the axes, so you can see I can make these bobbing motions, and I'm moving perfectly left, perfectly right. I can point at a very obvious angle and still moving perfectly right. This of course happens when looking straight up or down too. You have to move into these green regions before you start seeing any diagonal movement occur. So this makes all diagonal movement incorrect, because while you still have access to your diagonals, they're all scrunched in these tiny pie slices. And given the dead zone size, the majority of your active portion of the stick is only outputting 4 directions. And this is really bad when trying to make precise adjustments, because you'll be making movements right around the dead zone, and the majority of your movements in this will be only 4 directions. So aiming in general is just very clunky. Next issue is you can see acceleration starts up slow and builds up until it hits this threshold where the acceleration ramps up dramatically. The threshold for this goes a little off this graph, makes kind of a very rounded square shape, which is exactly what you want to see for a square dead zone, so that's not an issue. But if you were, say, trying to track an enemy and you wanted to track them faster than this, and you push the stick a little further, you would skate straight over them. This is an option in the game, so as we can see, we can disable this, but also check, I'm playing at the max look sensitivity right now, so when disabled, I don't have to worry about the aim spike, but you're kind of stuck with a pretty low kind of default sensitivity, so you're reliant on that look acceleration to be able to turn at any respectable pace. So these are kind of all the issues in Serious Sam's with Serious Sam's aiming. Getting to the improvements, the first one would be changing this square dead zone to a circular dead zone. This would allow you to exit the dead zone from the same distance from the center on any angle, and it shouldn't have this issue of restricting diagonal movement, so we could see full and correct diagonal movement everywhere. The next would be adding options for the inner and outer dead zone sizes. So even if Croteam wants to default to a 40% dead zone, having dead zone options would allow players to set whatever dead zone is most comfortable to them. So 20%, 10%, 5%, 0% even. Having those would allow players to set it up comfortably. Smaller dead zones make precise adjustments much easier, as well as making aiming in general feel more responsive. The range for the inner dead zone slider could be 0 to 40%. The outer dead zone is a little less important, but as you can see, the threshold here is at 90%, and anything after that is this dead space. So being able to push it back a little bit would give us more range of motion back. But having an option would also help players whose sticks can't reach these outer thresholds, and so that they can customize it. So if their stick, can only reach 85%, they can pull the outer dead zone back there, so they can still hit those max turn rates or turn acceleration if they're using it. The next requested fix would be doubling the turn sensitivity. Since this is kind of our current maximum sensitivity, it'd be nice to be able to increase this so we could still turn quickly without relying on look acceleration to be able to turn around quickly. The last option would be control over the acceleration curve. If the acceleration curve followed a power function, players could be given control over the degree, and that would give players a ton of control over their aim. So for example, if players wanted to play at a very high sensitivity, they could use a higher degree exponent, which would allow them to still make precise adjustments easily while still playing at a very high sensitivity. On the other end, if they want to play at a lower sensitivity, they could play at a more linear curve or just lower degree function, and that might be more comfortable to them. So the requested range for that would be kind of 1, a linear curve, 2, a cubic curve, and that should really cover everything. So to sum up, a change to a circular dead zone, that should give us full diagonal movement and make exiting the dead zone consistent everywhere. Inner and outer dead zone options with the range for the inner dead zone 0 to 40%, and a range for the outer dead zone maybe 80% to 100%. Doubling the maximum turn sensitivity, and having an option to control the acceleration curve from linear 1 to cubic 3 with maybe 0.1 increments would be plenty precise. So yeah, Crow Team, if you hear this, making these changes would make Serious Sam 4 on consoles or on PC with a controller feel dramatically smoother than it is currently in these previous versions. So yeah, hopefully we'll see those improvements made, and hopefully Serious Sam 4 plays as smoothly as possible. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Alright, so for this section of the video, I just want a quick demonstration of what these changes might look like. I've disabled in-game controller support and have remapped things through a mouse and keyboard emulator that has the options that I'm requesting. So as you can see, I'm using a very small dead zone, and cursor movement starts with very low stick movements. And this makes precise adjustments much easier, as well as aiming feel just more responsive in general. There's full diagonal movement and correcto, so you can see very subtle angles being applied, and the bobbing motions I was doing before are also reflected here. I'm not playing at too much of a faster sensitivity than the native sensitivity without look acceleration, but it is faster, and I don't need look acceleration to do so. You can see that it's a very gradual decrease. And I have customized the acceleration curve to my preference, so I'm able to play at a modest sensitivity like this while still making small adjustments. And of course, this is just my setup. Players are all different, so they could be using much larger dead zones, they could be using look acceleration, they could use different sensitivities or acceleration curves, but the options, adding these options would allow players to do that. Because ideally, players would be able to comfortably play and aim accurately without needing to rely on the auto aim that these current games employ. But that covers it. Thanks for watching, and again, hopefully Serious Sam 4 plays as smoothly as it possibly can. Thanks for watching.